So many of you have built amazing businesses, but you're stuck in your local bubble because the thought of going global feels like a one-way ticket to burnout. Maybe you think, I cannot spend another 20 hours translating scripts or hiring voice actors to talk on my behalf. Well, you don't have to, kind of. Thanks to AI.
Creating, reorganized, creating, reorganized, creating, reorganized, creating, reorganized.
If you are a new or an aspiring founder of your small business and have no time to waste or really struggle to do your social media marketing, you will enjoy our Creating Reorganized show. In my day job as a psychology professor, I teach my bachelor and master students in real life how to reorganize processes in a goal-directed and future-proof way in companies. And that's what I have done for a living as a former IT strategy consultant. For my own career coaching business on the side, I can only dedicate a fraction of my time because, I prioritize care work for my little children. I face the same or similar challenges like all small business owners. So I applied all my experience and knowledge to create my other video podcast, Postdoc Transformation Show, to streamline my social media marketing and to boost sales of my coaching, e-courses, and affiliate products or services. I strategically capitalize on professional tools to scale my impact according to my vision of life. Listen and subscribe to this Creating Reorganized show so you will learn to do the same for your own business, to build the know, like, and trust factor, and to boost sales of your services or products. Please also ask your business-specific questions because for the next seasons, I envision interview episodes with aspiring and new founders like you, if you want to get your Creating Reorganized according to your vision of life. As in every episode, at the end, I will wrap everything up from a psychological method, theory, or concept point of view. So stay tuned until the end of this episode, especially if you are my bachelor and master student in real life. I would love for you to take notes and maybe even already recognize my arguments. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and now welcome to our show, Creating Reorganized. Dear Creating Reorganizer, welcome back to episode 19. Today, we are tackling a massive psychological and technical barrier, the language wall. So many of you have built amazing businesses, but you're stuck in your local bubble because the thought of going global feels like a one-way ticket to burnout. Maybe you think, I cannot spend another 20 hours translating scripts or hiring voice actors to talk on my behalf. Well, you don't have to, kind of. Thanks to AI. So in episode 18, we deep dived already into why your real face and voice are your most expensive assets to cut through AI content inflation. But what happens when someone who doesn't speak your language still needs your human signal? Well, the siren song of generic AI avatars returns here, and we already talked about it. You see maybe ads saying, just type your text and your robot will speak Spanish for you. As we discussed, those avatars often land you in the uncanny valley. They lack the micro expressions. I'm a psychologist, so we can talk endless hours about that. But the thing is, you need to have the soul that builds trust. So today, I'm going to show you the no-edit editing hack. So we are using Descript, which is my favorite video and audio recording and editing tool, and their AI agentic co-editor, Underlord. I literally love Underlord. To do the impossible, dubbing your video into multiple languages using your own cloned voice with perfect lip syncing. We'll see how perfect that is, but I'll show you, and then you can convince yourself. But before we dive into that topic, I want to share with you a personal achievement, all right? So today, Descript, among a few other leading AI innovators, teamed up to showcase Descript's users' AI video editing skills. And I, Eleonore Soei-Winkels, have earned my advanced badge to be shared on LinkedIn. Woohoo! Woo! So this is a huge appreciation of all my production work. To be honest, I have probably created around 1,000 long and short form videos with and without AI. So I had an era before AI, with and without Descript. So when I recommend Descript to you, it really comes from real expertise and also a lot of painful moments, which is why I don't want to miss Descript anymore. Now, you can check out my LinkedIn badge for Descript Advanced on my LinkedIn profile under my name, Eleonore Soei-Winkels. And now you can also see when I recorded this video for you, because I just connected my LinkedIn profile and Descript today. Then you will see that I will publish this episode probably in late March for season 3. Trust me, I really walk my talk when I encourage you to batch record in quiet times to publish in seasons, as discussed in episode 4, seasonal video podcast strategies to avoid burnout. Let's get back to our episode about scaling your video presence in multiple languages. So, are you feeling limited by your geography? I mean, I'm in Germany, all right? So how many countries do speak German? Maybe you are like me, just tired of ghosting international leads because you do not have a translated sales funnel. In my case, it's quite the opposite, because I have deliberately chosen English as my primary business language, right? So today, we want to turn your video podcast into a global automated sales engine while maybe you are picking up your kids from the school gates or enjoy your day according to your vision of life. So let's do Creating Reorganized. Let me tell you why this is really personal to me. My identity is also my strategy. I can only be me, and no one else can be me. I'm a Chinese-Indonesian immigrant living in Germany. I became a German citizen at age 2, and I was, probably you know already, the best high school student in my year in 2000. Yes, the Asian tiger mom stereotype was real in my house. Eventually, I earned my PhD in neuroscience at the International Graduate School of Neuroscience in Bochum, Germany. And I spent years navigating languages. So I spent a couple of months or a year somewhere else. And in the lab, as I coded experiments, or at Aldi South, where I worked as an IT analyst, bridging the gap between technical service and business users. Before we continue, we want to appreciate those who finance this valuable episode for you. Thanking our advertisers for their financial support, we are happy to return to our inspiring episode. So I spent a couple of months or a year somewhere else. And in the lab, as I coded experiments, or at Aldi South, where I worked as an IT analyst, bridging the gap between technical service and business users, I learned that language can really be a wall or a bridge, depending on how you use it. So when I moved to Accenture, I was a global IT strategy consultant. And I used to think that my accent was my weakness, right? So I thought, to be an authority, I need to sound perfectly in English. So I worked on it. But nevertheless, you probably have guessed already, I'm a STEM person. So languages aren't easy for me, but I was wrong in my assumption anyway. So my heritage, my German accented English, and my Indonesian influenced behavior are exactly what make me unAIable. Okay, so when I launched Postdoc Transformation, the show for scientists leaping into business, it served as a showroom for my career coaching, as my marketing arm. And I realized that scientists leaping into business in Manchester, UK, or Sydney, Australia, did not need a generic avatar. And they also don't need the perfect English as well. I mean, they speak English. They don't need me to relate or to speak perfectly. So they only wanted the professor who was able to leap from a PhD in neuroscience into IT strategy and business consulting. That was my unique value proposition and not really my English. But I also realized that I wanted and needed to scale, especially during the COVID crisis. You know what happened? I couldn't be everywhere at once. And you probably know I prioritize my kids above all. So in episode 1, we already talked about building trust. And for me as a psychologist, trust is one of the most important human connections that we can have. So in 2026, trust is a psychological shortcut that you can still use and should use even if AI is at your hands. So if I can speak to a lead or a student in their native language using my voice and my expressions, I can bridge the cultural gap instantly. And it's making more steps towards them where they are. And that's an effort that they will appreciate, subconsciously or even consciously. So by recording myself in English, I took my international experience and opened it to the world. But with Descript's new feature, I want to share my English recordings with a few German students who really rely on German and who would miss my message in English. There is a local demand. Even though I think that every German student should be able to speak in English, I have to acknowledge that it's not always the case. So I want to try the no-edit editing hack that serves my German students without adding a lot of hours on my editing routine. So I want to help, but not at my expense or too much of my expense. So I use technology to amplify my humanity, not replace it. And today I'm showing you exactly how to build your own supply chain of success. Rings a bell? Hopefully. If not, please deep dive also in episode 13 where we talk about the supply chain of success with your video podcast. So I want to build that supply chain of success across borders, and in my case, also serving in German based on my English recordings. And also I will record a German first message that I want to dub into English, which probably is the more usual use case. So I want to test that as well. All right, creative reorganizers, grab your notebooks. We're going to our virtual lecture hall to understand why cloning your voice is better than a generic translation, which I already discovered can be done by your web browser, Chrome, for example. Thanks to a clever student of mine, we have to look at Sullivan's motivating language theory from 1988. As a psychology professor, I love the motivating language theory because it explains how leader speech actually motivates people to take action, like buying your product or services. And Sullivan identified 3 types of speech that must work together. Number 1, direction-giving language. This is the how-to. So it reduces uncertainty. Generic AI is great at this. It can tell a lead how to click a button, and leads won't pay for a human service provider that kind of service anymore, to be honest. Number 2, meaning-making language. This explains the why. It connects the task to the organization's culture or your brand's mission. I would say that the more a lead would share with the AI, and I do have huge concerns here, the more AI can help you here. So again, some leads won't pay a human service provider for that kind of work, but maybe they are a little bit careless. Third, that's the empathetic language. This is where the magic, at least for adults, happens. It's about emotional support and validation. And I know that teenagers are happily bonding with AI companions, and some adults turn to AI partners for satisfaction of their human needs. So AI is already good enough. And as AI evolves, AI will be a competitor for human toxic managers and service providers who are bad in empathetic language. But as of now, and hopefully also in the future, being human and empathetic and a real leader will make a difference despite the AI slop. But AI isn't that sloppy anymore in the future, maybe. So here's the strategic aha moment for me. Research shows that empathetic language has the highest impact on performance and trust. And when you see a generic AI voice to translate your video, and I see that all the time using YouTube, and even though I enjoy my videos in English when I watch other videos, sometimes it's already auto-translated into some generic German voice, and it's like such a huge shock for me. and I don't really like it. I just turn it off and I want to listen to the English original. You lose the prosody, the emotional rhythm, the pauses, and the vocal warmth that conveys empathy, which you need to attract and nurture your leads. They want to listen and see your unique voice and face. Your emotions are conveyed in your voice and in your face, not via an avatar. And that actually is the point that I'm really curious about. I know from non-German friends who have worked with me for many months or even years that I sound different when I speak in English versus in German. And they are often surprised that I almost sound like a different person. I have a different pitch, which maybe relates to when I learned German as a child versus English in high school. Also, I speak English only at work, so my business behavior might also influence how I use my voice in a private versus in a business setting. And I have also psychology students who I teach in German for their first semesters, and then I teach them in intercultural psychology in English for another module. And that's a little bit funny because, a bunch of Germans talk to each other in English because that's the tuition language. So it's really, really funny. I could teach in German, of course, but they have to also train their listening comprehension and writing their assignments in English. That is their scholastic or study requirement. So I lecture in English without mercy. And to be honest, this is also the reason for having Creating Reorganized and Postdoc Transformation in English, because I can train to be more of service for them. And it's a convenient way for them to familiarize also themselves with my English pronunciation, especially before that particular module. Let's pause for a moment to respect those who sponsor this valuable episode. Thanking our sponsors for the financial support, we are happy to return to a valuable episode. It's a convenient way for them to familiarize also themselves with my English pronunciation. But now back to you. When you use the no-edit editing hack in Descript, you are preserving your own vocal DNA. Even when the words are in Spanish or Mandarin, the tone remains yours. And this is exciting or frightening. Well, we also have to consider the cognitive load theory. If leads are watching a video of you, but the audio is a robotic mismatch, their brain has to work harder to process the discrepancy. And this cognitive friction, as we discussed in episode 17, so by using Descript's lip sync feature, we align our microexpressions with a new language. And this reduces the listener's effort and creates conversational intimacy. As we learned from Horton and Wall in the last episode, this parasocial bond is what turns a lead into a fan. So in 26, content is a cheap signal. Okay, so anyone can prompt a bot. But a multilingual video podcast distributed by Podbean, edited for clarity in Descript, and powered by your real voice and image is a costly signal. It shows the market you are a premium invested expert, and that is the ultimate return on invest. Now let's get practical. I'm putting my own reputation on the line for you today. So I'm a fan of data. And in my experience, I've noticed that Descript sometimes had misses and false alarms when I interviewed guests who weren't native English speakers or had very heavy local English accents. So up until this moment, Descript has only been trained on my English voice, my professor persona. But today, I recorded a German introduction in my industrial and occupational psychology lecture for my bachelor and master students in real life in Düsseldorf, Germany. And I haven't recorded in German on Descript before. So this is brand new raw material for Descript's AI. And I'm really curious how Descript is handling this. I took that German recording and asked Underlord to dub it into English, so you can check the difference. By now, you are familiar with my real English, so AI dubbing from German to English will be funny, maybe. I don't know. So think about the technical complexity. The AI has to take my native German cadence, translate the empathetic language of a pep talk or whatever, introduction talk into English, and then use the vocal characteristics it has learned from my German recording to make it sound like me speaking in English. I'm very curious about that. So this is the no-edit editing workflow in action. The cleanup, I use edit for clarity to remove my German ums and ahs. So whatever. I mean, that's a given. Then translation. I selected English. And Underlord translated the transcript instantly. And it was okay. Better than expected. The dubbing, I told it to use my voice. And yes, I have trained previously with my AI voice, previously with all my recordings in Descript for my postdoc transformation and Creating Reorganized show. So there is plenty of training material, just in a different language. Whether it's better or not, I don't know. We'll see. So the lip sync, I use the one-click feature to align my German mouth movements to the English sounds. And this is where I'm really curious about that. So now I share this with you, and I'm curious about your reactions. I cannot do this in real time, but I will ask my students in real life for their reactions, because a lot of that new material that I record in German that needs to be dubbed into English is actually relevant for them. So I can also talk about that in our lecture. I have posted these dubbed videos in the show notes for this episode, and I want you to watch them. Watch my face, listen to my tone. Does it still feel like me? And I want your feedback. Join the Creating Reorganized newsletter and let me know whether you liked it and how you rate the outcome. So if this works and the data suggests, it means that you can record in your most comfortable language and sell it in every other language. So you can become the obvious choice, as we have discussed in episode 14, as linked in the show notes. You are scaling your legacy while your AI-boosted system, Descript, handles the translation for you. Here's a word of caution though. Think about this strategically. As a parent or an adult child, I can see many illegal use cases for this type of dubbing, so that your children or parents can fall prey for scams. So if you will be using this kind of technology for your business, you may want to warn your loved ones that scammy videos of your voice and face may sooner or later exist that aren't you, and that you have to find a code word that your children or your parents can ask, so you know it's them or not. I also don't want to hide the fact that YouTube
and Instagram, sorry for the interruption with this random AI voice,
will soon introduce an automatic dubbing feature at no cost, most probably, for all uploaded videos or new ones. So you could think, is your extra work of dubbing via an external paid tool like Descript worth it? And I would say yes, because if everybody will have
free and automatic
access to a technology, then the results will sound generic. But you can polish your dubbing individually based on clarity before posting it on all your social media platforms, not just YouTube, because YouTube has it only on YouTube, of course. So, to keep this global machine running without you hitting a wall, you need a human in the lead system. And we use technology to amplify the human, not replace it. We already said that. So Descript is where you have the global translation studio. You can use Underlord to prune your mistakes and lip sync and maintain your credibility. You can even have a teleprompter if it helps you. And Descript really saves me many hours of friction incidents and ensures that my audience, be it German or international, sees the same high quality me. And then I have Podbean, which is my podcasting and monetizing platform of choice for both Creating Reorganized and Postdoc Transformation. And that is a strong argument for that. Okay, I would not have both shows there if I wouldn't be happy with Podbean. So Podbean's global distribution means that my persona is available on every continent 24/7, 365. Then we also use Metricool. And as an IT strategist, I need to see the social return on invest using a tool. So Metricool shows me which international markets are clicking my links on social media, like TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, whatever. So if I see a spike in Indian-speaking leads who are watching my YouTube content more often than on other social media platforms, I know it's a time for another no-edit Indian dub, all right? I can even see this whole feature being very usable on Thinkific, because this is where I have my even more polished e-course. So once you've built trust in a new language, you need a place to deliver your high-value offer. And Thinkific is the professional white label environment that honors your premium brand. All right, so now we talk about Typeform and Active Campaign by Quiet Sales Machine. And we already discussed that in episode 17. So if you haven't listened to that, Typeform captures the nuances of your leads. So you can maybe try our business readiness quiz as linked in the show notes. The campaign ensures that your persona continues the conversation in the right languages automatically. So I can see that you can create versions of the same sales pitch, for example, and then if a listener or a lead takes on a specific word that identifies them as Indian or French or whatever, that could then lead to the specific video in their language. All right, I know some of you are listening and thinking, Eleonore, I want a global brand. Yes, but I'm a business owner, not a video editor. And this is exactly why I launched the Creating Reorganized podcasting service. Remember, now I am a Descript advanced user. So I know what I'm talking about. We are a premium white label done-for-you solution. We take your raw recordings in any language and apply my IT strategy standard operating procedures. We handle the Descript dubbing, the lip syncing, the Podbean distribution, and the lead generation flow. We built a global engine, and you just provide your soul. So based on my teaching schedule, we only take a few exclusive clients each season. So I just cherry pick, to be honest. If you want a global sales machine without the burnout, check out the link in the show notes to apply for our services. And here's the actionable prompt. Record a 60-second video. You can even just take the one video from last episode. Hopefully you created already. Don't worry about being perfect. Upload it to Descript in the free version and try the translation feature. Just see how it feels to hear yourself in another language. Please use my Descript link for your free trial, as linked in the show notes. If you're nervous, sign up for my Creating Reorganized newsletter and send the video to me so I can give you feedback. Your audience isn't looking for a robot. They're looking for you in every language. So thank you for joining me in this extended lecture hall of Creating Reorganized. Remember, your voice is your legacy. So don't let a language barrier silence that. If you want more on the supply chain of success, I remind you on episode 13 and episode 4 if you're struggling with Podfade. All my affiliate links are in the show notes. Using them supports my show while I live according to my vision of life, so you can do that too. I'm Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and I will see you in episode 20 for Visibility Without Vanity. I'm off to pick my kids up now, and Descript is translating my content because my superpower is STEM, not languages, right? So this is Creating Reorganized according to your vision of life.
Do you want to start your own side business as a runway for your better future? Then you will benefit from our free business readiness quiz as linked in the show notes. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, share it with your business friends, and leave a review on your favorite podcast player. Your feedback helps me as a small business owner to serve more small business owners for free, so thank you. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and now I wish you a happy Creating Reorganized according to your vision of life.